Good day, everybody. So we are still having a little bit of difficulty finding a new house. But for the time being, I decided to just go ahead and move into the bike shop. I sleep in here. But today though, guys, it's the first Cane Creek Cup. The weekend after, or I guess maybe when this comes up, it'll probably just be or maybe when this comes out, it'll probably only be a couple days away, but the stump jump is happening. So yeah, let's get to the race. So the drive wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the best in the world. It did take me about 2.5 hours to get here. I'll comment on my fitness after the race, but let's just go through the race at the moment. Let's nerd out.
5 seconds. On your mark, get set, go. Let's go, guys.
So right off the start, I don't understand. I either will get the whole shot or I'll slip a pedal. There's no in between. This time, I did slip a pedal.
Not on your left. I'm trying. Thank you, buddy.
And then as soon as this thing turns left here, it's gotta be freaking like 30%, it felt like, because I've never used my granny gear in a bike race before. I used it this time because it was only for like 4 pedal strokes. But right there, like, oh man, it is steep. So Chris puts in he puts in a good effort. The first climb was relatively difficult. He had me breathing pretty freaking hard. I honestly do not know what his tires were, but we were joking around about it halfway through this first lap. He was slipping and sliding through this course. Either, you know, I'm sure he knows his tire pressure, but it was not hooking up the way like mine and Will's tires were. And I have to give it to him though. Maybe it's from cyclocross or some other form of cycling, but he kept it upright.
Yeah, boy. All right, Ricky Bobby. You're the sliding master.
How many do you guys have? I think I got the wrong one.
They're definitely sliding.
Y'all talking about tires?
Yeah.
I got the chunky jump.
We're on the first lap here, right? So Chris is actually keeping it at a moderate pace. This is not your, in my experience, your typical Cat 1 pace. Basically what he was doing, he was using his skills to keep the pace high, but then when it came to the physicality of this first lap, it was not that difficult. My heart rate was probably around 140. I was able to recover a decent amount, but you know, he was keeping it just hard enough to where you couldn't pass, not that I wanted to. But what this did is it made for an interesting first lap, because this hasn't happened to me before, but the category that started behind us actually caught us. Right now we're about 4 up the road. I know it's me, Chris, Will, and I think looking at the results, Nathan? And then we had this other group catch us. We had you know, we sat down, we talked with them, we discussed on when would be the proper time to pass, because it was leaders of one group and leaders of another group. They said, let us just pass on the road, it's fine. So we all moved over.
Everybody to the left. On the roadway, yeah. Gotcha. Hey, it said on the roadway. Let them fly. Get it, dudes. Woo, 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 woo.
And I knew this was gonna happen. I knew somebody was gonna do it. So Chris jumped on their wheel. The two guys from the other category were ripping it. They were pretty dang fast. Chris jumps on their wheel, and following somebody else's line when they are going fast enough to at least catch you, you know they're going faster than what you were going, it's just easier. So I knew when they came around, somebody was gonna try to jump on their wheel.
Go, 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 go.
Come on, Mark.
On your right. You're good, dude. It happens.
And towards the end of the first lap, I had my first mistake, but luckily it was in front of everyone, so they all had to wait on me. The trail, the way the trail reads, if there were no markings, you would keep going straight, but since we're racing, they had it taped off and you need to go right. I completely, I don't know, I was in Sufferland and just missed the turn.
Oh, sorry, dudes. That came up way quicker than I thought.
Now at this point, Chris, I saw him out of the corner of my eye. He was gonna try to come around me. I picked the pace up. I wanted to be in the lead going into the second lap. Will is still back there. I think at this point, Nathan maybe has gotten popped off, but I'm not 100% sure. So my second lap, I wanted it to mainly be about consistency. One thing I'm definitely lacking in my fitness right now is the punch. So I made it to the top of the climb, back through the little jump line here. You're really too tired once you get up and over that climb to hit any of this stuff, plus the lips aren't super big on them. You just kind of roll through it, but it's a fun little jump line. So keeping the pace steady, keeping it steady. It's down to the last three of us. I knew somebody was going to attack here. It was inevitable because I wasn't pushing the pace as hard as I could have. Will decided to come around me on the road. I don't know, hindsight 2020, when we hit this road portion, I should have just gotten out of the saddle like I normally do and just went as hard as I could. I should have tried to stay in the lead for as long as I could have.
Oh,
and yes, Will is on great form right now. I have to give it to him. Good job, dude, because when the trail pointed upwards, he left me. He left me pretty hard. I didn't blow myself up. I kept pushing the pace, never give up, you know. I know I've got good skill. If you've watched me and Will race each other before, like at the stump jump, he would drop me on the climbs, I'd catch back up on the descent. This course though, the majority of the climbing is at the end of the course. Right here, I was still pushing the pedals pretty good. I thought I was riding fine, but Will just leaves me in the dust. I mean, look at that, he is just going. So Chris still had some gas. I let him around. Hopefully he was going to be able to give Will a run for his money. So we got all the climbing done, but we have one lap to go. I knew I had to push the pace on the descents, especially before that middle hill came. So I let it go, I let the brakes fly. I tried to rip through the downhill as much as I could, and it was very frustrating because you can tell I was catching them, or I was at least catching Will. I'm not sure about Chris's ability on the bike, but he seems to have super good skills as well. Basically, when you do the U-turn on the bridge to start this climb, they were coming out of it as I was going into it. You can see Chris up there in the pink jersey. So they are not that far. Seeing that distance and closing that distance is two totally different things. I did give it as much as I could. Will and Chris were they were the better men on the day. No way around that. There goes Will. And right there's Chris. So I've got one turn. They're out of the turn, I'm going into the turn. One more thing, right here. This guy, his name's Josh. He just had knee surgery, and he's out here racing his bike. Props to him, everyone give him a thumbs up. That's freaking awesome. Good job, dude.
Appreciate it. Good job, Josh.
Come on, baby.
Right side.
I didn't give up, honestly. I still pushed it as hard as I could during the race, but in my head I knew, like, I can't. There's not enough room for me to catch back up. But at the end of the day, I got third place. I can't complain. This was the first XC race of the year. I did not do short track this year because it was a monsoon the whole time, and we were in the midst of selling a house too. As far as my fitness goes, I feel like I have a really good base, all things considered. I took more time off of the bike this base building season than I normally do, but I also put in bigger rides, so I changed up how I train a little bit. So my base is great. I didn't cramp at all during this race, even though it was just an hour-and-a-half race. It was pretty hot. I didn't feel like I was bonking ever at any point during this race, but I did not have that quick snap that I typically rely on. That's what I'm missing. I'm missing that punch. Right now, I'm racing for the next 3 weekends in a row, so I'm hoping that doing these races, the group rides just started back as well. I'm doing my intervals. I'm hoping that that punch comes about. And then once I get through these races, I'm curious to see when the next round of the Cane Creek Cup happens, if my punch will slowly start coming back. My lap times were a little bit slower than I wanted them to be, but I can't complain. With the past year that we've all had, you can't complain. This was so much fun. I love being back on my bike. I love racing all these guys. Everyone's super cool. There you have it, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I was pretty pleased with the first Cane Creek Cup. But I thank everybody for sticking around watching these videos. I thank everyone for sticking around. I love doing these race videos. Make sure that you like and subscribe, and I will see everybody in the next one. Bye-bye.